pace, but in the pre-show interview that Oxygen had, Archie said it was obvious they were the best team here.
He did.
Do you agree?
I don't agree. I don't even think it's obvious that they're the best team on the field against G2. Never mind obvious that they're going to win the whole tournament.
They're destined neither.
No, they're destined. Very confident in G2 winning here. I'm not that confident though, to be honest. The last time G2 made top 8 at a European LAN was in 2019. In fact, early in 2019. So it's been a while. They do not tend to run very well on European soil, so I think Oxygen are the favourites here for me. I mean, I didn't expect a clean sweep for G2 winning this from the desk. But I think this is a close one. I think that both teams have got exceptional quality. And oh, that's a great start for G2. That last touch to set up the goal was absolutely phenomenal from Atomic.
Well, if G2 are going to win this one, it's going to be via the man who got that beautiful assist. Atomic with the flip reset just to help that ball on its way. And when you're coming up against a team as mechanical as Oxygen Esports, it's nice to show them that you've got something in your locker as well.
Yeah, that little twist at the end of that air dribble from Atomic sent the ball so much further than Archie was expecting. He covered the whole goal actually, Archie, despite the fact he was a low boost. Atomic just doing that little bit more. A great start for G2 Esports. They started pretty well in their matches that they did end up losing in the London Major not long ago. So this isn't unusual to see G2 do well. It's actually closing out the series has been difficult for them in European events.
Well, let's see if they're able to keep the momentum going that they've built for themselves early on in game number 1. So the marathon ahead of these players. Best of 5 at the start of the Swiss. A lot of Rocket League to be had. The demo again from JNaps. Atomic's coming in. It could be a couple if they play their cards right here. G2 and Oxygen very much haven't. But there was just about enough time to recover. But it's G2 on the attack again. Look how much pressure they're getting.
Yeah, a bit of a giveaway there though with the last touch. Jaria's looking to transition here. Wants the mind game. Infield passed off the back of it. Well played. Well defended by G2.
Oh, that wasn't as well defended though. It was completely missed. There was an attempt on the goal line to put it away from the goal, but it just wasn't to be, and it's a freebie for Oxygen. Just Archie in the corner. JNap's completely missing. Atomic, fair play to him. He put in a good effort, but not enough.
Yeah, JNap's had 100 boost there. I'm not sure why he was so close to the play. He could have just dropped back a little bit and covered the whole goal, but he's in no man's land. And he's not able to make a save. He might have thought that he was second man with a goalkeeper behind him. He did not have a goalie behind him. He was the last man in that play, at least for the most part. Pretty easy goal. Disappointing goal for G2 to concede, especially against a team like Oxygen, who do not need any help creating goal-scoring opportunities.
Oxygen Esports, the only 2 Dutch players in this event here in Rotterdam, so I'm sure there are many people coming to this event in a couple of days' time who are praying that they make it through this Swiss and they can be supported by the crowd. But to do that, you have to go up against teams like G2, and you have to defend much better than that, and now it's 2-1 G2.
Well, you know, I've got to say, the defensive display that I'm seeing from both teams here is not what I was expecting. And this time it's Jarius who's kind of in no man's land. He doesn't commit fully to the challenge. He kind of turns at the near post. I feel like if you've made the effort of leaving the goal, you might as well go all the way. What is he really covering there by turning around?
Well, you talk about what we're expecting, but from Oxygen Esports, it's always difficult to know what to expect. They opened this season like a house on fire, winning the first regional. Then they finished 11th, top 11, and then they reached the quarterfinals. So a lot of inconsistencies going on for Oxygen Esports, which can be okay at a LAN if you pop off at the right time. And they're trying to make sure they're popping off at this game at all. So far, not really happening. The only goal they have got has been a complete freebie given to them by JNaps. They have to get something going for themselves, but there's been a few misplays. Jory is missing the ball again there. Does let Archie in, but so far Oxygen not looking particularly fluent.
Yeah, neither team peaking in game 1. It's not a surprise. Of course, it's first game on the stage, first game in the studio. That's a fantastic infield pass, but what a save. Well, one thing that G2 fans will be happy about is Atomic has been the shining light of this lobby. He's been far and away the best player, but they've failed to get that one clear. Archie dropped it down for Jarius. Wasn't able to make contact.
Again, so close for Oxygen Esports, but they're just not nailing those final touches. And G2 are able to get the ball away. What I would say, though, this is the first real sustained pressure for Oxygen. A lovely flip reset towards Archie from Oli. Not allow Jory is in. Past Chicago. Oli's waiting, but again, they're having to side flip. They're always playing a little bit too close to the ball. And it's just not matching the momentum of the players who are attacking it, who really want to put it home. Maybe Archie can do it himself. More good defending there from G2, though. This time it's Jory's turn. It's got Oli behind him, a little bit further away. Oli comes on with some momentum, but Atomic closes that one down quickly.
You know, this is not ideal for G2. You really don't want to have to be defending against multiple air dribbles. Lovely little boost respawn there for Atomic. He had that one timed well. Like, yeah, this isn't how you really want to be playing against Oxygen. You don't want to give them these chances. They're very scary with their air dribbles, very scary with their resets, but G2 have defended just well enough here. Keeping the ball in the back corner, deflecting it away from danger, preventing quick follow-up shots from Oxygen after the first one gets saved. 2
Oxygen players went for that ball, and neither of them got that, but somehow they managed to stay on the attack. Here is Jory, as he can wake his team up right here, right now. He manages it, threads that needle home.
Yeah, this is what I mean. You can only do this for so long. You can't survive an entire game. There was far too long left in the game for G2 to realistically survive against air dribble after air dribble. Oxygen's mechanics looking good in offense now. The triple threat is real. Tie game is there.
Even when G2 Esports tend to lose a game, it's rare to see them just embedded so far in their own half. So Oxygen did a really good job after a slow start of putting on a squeeze, and now that charge down from Archie completely changes the momentum.
Oh, Atomic just panic jumped there. He thought he was being challenged a lot earlier, but there was no one there. I don't think he had a clear vision of what was happening in front of him. He can have. Because why would he jump if he knows he's the only person in the ball? That panic jump there from Atomic left him in a bit of an awkward landing. Easy dunk for Oxygen. First man, of course, just send it, just go. Why not? You might score. If not, probably fine. They're more than fine here. 3-2 lead. Inside the final minute, it's been mostly Oxygen pressing for more goals.
Yeah, but you wouldn't back against G2 getting back into this one, especially the way Oxygen were defending at the start, but they do seem to have stepped up their game. Now it's them making all the plays, stealing the boost as well. They've got so much control of the resources around this pitch. Archie sends it long, but JNAP's, his touch is only passive, it's only as far as Oli. Oxygen have got that balance right in the last minute or so, and it's looking like they're going to be able to see this first game away, unless Chicago gets a clean touch, and he does! Archie's on the goal line, can't block it, 3-3!
Well, just when you thought it might be all over, G2 managed to sneak the ball in field, and neither Archie or Oli could block it. Oli was the man to try and close down the shot. Archie on the goal line. Chicago snipes it over their head. But what a pass again from Atomic. He's been that one guy for G2. He often is. He was a constant threat, creating goals out of nowhere.
2 teams who so far have had an up and down season introduce us to this series with a very up and down game. Will there be one final twist before overtime? Does Archie want to kill it? Yes, he does. He will take us into next goal wins territory. And it's a match where both teams would really have felt they would have pulled away with the momentum that they've built.
There's a great fight back from Oxygen. They're the first team with a good chance after the kickoff, but Jorias drops the shot pretty low, harmlessly in front of the G2 goalkeeper. G2 with a much harder hit forward. This is a bit awkward for Oxygen there. Just trying to keep the ball in the corner, but look at the boost in the top left. 0-0 and 12 there. Jorias picks up mid. That'll help him pressure the ball. In fact, a great chance for Oli. Well, G2 did not defend that one well, and they didn't have to. It was actually missed as well. Not for the first time. Oxygen, the glorious chance, and unable to make contact.
And now it's their turn in the blue half. Archie just punches it long, but JNAPS will be able to serve that one on a plate for Chicago. Up he goes. Anyone in the center? But no, I mean, this is so rare for G2 to have 2 players so far back that an infield pass goes absolutely nowhere. So they're definitely starting this first game slowly, despite the 3 goals that they've got. Those goals have been well worked and they've come.
Oxygen as well, you know, we're clearly seeing that they're just not on the same page at times as infield passes are going to no one. They're just not being communicated in terms of boost totals. This player's not able to run into these positions where the ball's being struck towards. Two steals available there. The goal is almost through. In fact, it is! A couple of G2 players actually hitting the ball on their own goal line, but it makes it past them. Jory's shot was a deadly one. Atomic and then Chicago both getting a touch. Oh no, it just went all wrong there for G2 at the end. Oxygen with a win. What a ridiculous game. What a chaotic game.
Yeah, that is poor old Chicago being a victim of his own reflexes there. The ball was coming at him fast and he just spammed the X button and in the net it ends up. So that's where their experience is really important for G2. You know, as Gibbs mentioned on the desk earlier, this is the only the only major winning trio that are here. That's where you can sort of almost laugh about those sorts of mistakes, or at the very least brush them off. So it's the good team for that to happen too.
Oh, certainly. I mean, they're the oldest team in terms of average age as well, so I think they're going to be just fine. They're going to get over a misplay like that pretty quickly. I'm more worried about the fact that Oxygen had so many opportunities in this game. They didn't even take their best chances. There were so many shots was completely uncontested in the middle, and they're missing the ball. So Oxygen managed to score 4 while creating many, many more than that. And that's what's most worrying for G2. They're giving away so many chances. against a team as mechanical as Oxygen. I mean, Oxygen, I think, have a mechanical advantage. G2 have to be the more organized team, which they often are, and they weren't as organized as they needed to be in this game.
I feel like because that game had so little shape, it's difficult to really take anything from it. You would expect that teams that have the experience of G2 and the brilliance of Oxygen will step up in a big way, just in structure, compared to how that first game panned out as we head over here to Aquadome. But I mean, what would you say they'll take from that? Can you see anything sort of carrying over?
I think G2 are probably just going to be trying to close down the challenges earlier. This is just too close to the goals again. Last second save is necessary. It's worth mentioning, Atomic did pretty well to initially save Joria's shot when the game was tied 3-3 in game 1. I think Chicago just panicked. He thought that his best chance of getting the ball clear was to hit it straight away, and he hits it into his own net. It's not necessarily a bad play to go for, so you never know. If it bounces off the inside of the post and hangs about in the goal line, Chicago's not supposed to know in that position that there's no Oxygen players right behind him. You can't really know that, so unfortunate for G2. Don't think that they're going to be tilted by that one. In terms of the flow of the game, they do have a bit of a problem to solve here. Oxygen still looking very deadly on counters. They're quick to the ball. Air dribbles have been fantastic. G2 need to challenge early. They need to challenge in unison if they're going to stop those air dribbles before they get deadly.
That was a slightly better moment there from Chicago, beating the Oxygen defenders to the ball, and it does allow G2 in. They come again, Atomic. He's onto the backboard, he's putting the shot on target. Well steaming in, and that is the G2 that we expect to see.
It's just a very simple play, but an effective play. Atomic just controlling the double tap. He's just got to keep that one high away from the goalkeeper. He knows he's calling to Chicago. This was going across the goal, dropping it down. Chicago's there, perfect timing. Those are the kind of plays that we're so used to seeing from G2. Just perfect play off the back of each other. Look at this.
Come on, Johnny, talk us through it. I know you want to.
Shot. I mean, Oxygen have cheated close. Jorius tries to get a bump onto Chicago, but he bumped Atomic instead. That just left Chicago with a free play on the ball.
2-0. All of a sudden for G2 Esports, and suddenly they're all smiles. It's amazing how quickly the pendulum swings back for a team in Rocket League. Momentum is a fickle beast. You can't rely on it too much, especially in between games. It could even be a third here if JNaps can get a little touch backwards, a little dribbling here. That's what we needed, back towards JNaps or Atomic. He couldn't quite get it, but still, it's more clean touches for G2. Look how much boost they've got, look how much time they've got with the ball. Oxygen are scrambling to get there, but one clear and decisive pass could be the difference between 2-0 G2 Esports and Oxygen getting one for themselves. The pass doesn't seem to be there though. Again, it falls to Atomic, who was slightly at the wrong angle, but very, very close to being able to turn that one goalwards. This game has really opened up, and it is now end-to-end stuff.
You know, down the lines, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Oxygen. Oh, this is a tough shot.
Oh,
very, very difficult shot attempted there from Archie. He wasn't far off. Jory is having to defend 1v1 against Chicago. He does well, blocking the second player as well. Drop down is just going to go wide for G2. Looking for Oxygen to try and use the infield option a little bit more. I mean, they're actually trying to pass the ball in that direction quite often, especially out of defense, but there's rarely somebody pushing up in the middle. They're mostly making those runs down the wings. It's been, I think, pretty effective, but there is space in the middle.
G2 are doing very well as well to read these infield passes that Oxygen are attempting. Nothing really seems to be working again. That one from Jorius. His teammates knew it wasn't going to happen. They've immediately rotated back, and G2 can come forward again. They can keep that position and steal some more seconds from the clock, which is ticking down pretty quickly as far as Oxygen are concerned. G2 will be happy with this. This is an experience once again. A lovely pass back to Archie. It was a beautiful return hit there from Jorius. Moves to Oli, gets the flip, has Archie in the center, just keeps on taking touches. G2 finally managed to punt it away.
That's a gorgeous double reset from Oli. I think G2 still a bit reeling from the pressure. Jorius tries his hand at that same move, but this one less effective. Still time for Oxygen. They're starting to look for those field passes, it looks like, at least by their second map positioning. Suddenly a shot rips out the midfield. JNaps, they're not just to save it, but to dribble it clear into the corner. Gets a 50-50 as well. JNaps doing so much in that play.
G2 just brute forcing their way through this Oxygen defense. They're coming forward again. Atomic sends it high, just making it as difficult as possible for Oxygen to do anything with that ball. Atomic again, it falls to him. That's what G2 are doing so well. They are just getting touch after touch on the ball in the Oxygen half, and eventually something's got to snap.
It's the second time in 2 games that G2 have actually infield passed by hitting the ball into the sidewall. It's not something you see all that often, but it shows you how cleanly and how quickly they're communicating these plays. The fact that they can hit the ball off the sidewall and then it bounces back into the middle and they're still the first team to react to it. Oh, it's an infield for Oxygen. We were asking about this earlier on. There it is. The option is there. The player this time ready for the pass when it comes towards him. Well struck by Oli. Archie, unmissable shot from that range, and we're still in that 2-goal difference. Oxygen fight back.
What seemed like an eternity suddenly is not very long at all. 1 minute and 25 seconds. Oxygen need a couple of goals for themselves. Are they able to get it? Archie's blocked by JNaps. Joris is coming in, but another miss from Joris. I hate to point the finger, but I have to say, I've noticed him missing the ball quite a few times, which is so unlike him. He's such a mechanical player. Maybe he's trying to do a little bit too much, I'm not sure, but as the series goes on, that will change. G2 can't rely on it. For now, it's not quite happening for him, and it's not happening for Oxygen with this attack either.
Oh, a bit of a double commit there from Oxygen. It was a very, very tempting ball to go for. I can almost forgive Oli and Jorius for both jumping there. I'm sure they both thought they had a great angle on it. Oh, they're not done yet.
Oh!
Fake from Oli sets up Jorius, and they are on the comeback trail.
He fully committed to this fake as well. Not just jumping, leaning back, shaping his car as if he's going to go for it. No one saw it coming, apart from his Oxygen teammate, Jorius. That'll do him some good getting on the score sheet as well. And now this is what this game leads up to. 44 seconds left.
Whoa, whoa, what a read.
You know, I was setting up a big thing. 44 seconds, 1 goal needed, and they've ruined it.
Oh, this is huge. I mean, Jorius has tried to fake the kickoff here. Chicago spotted it. I don't think Jorius' line towards the ball was convincing enough because Chicago realized that he's actually faking that and just chips it straight in the top corner. Fantastic awareness from Chicago on that play to punish fake kickoff. And you know what Oxygen have done? Well, doesn't work first time, let's just do it again. This one is a much better outcome.
Yeah, it worked slightly better that time. Not able to score from it, but at least they're able to get the ball in the other half. And he's going to just touch that one down to Archie. They have to get something going now. Archie using that wall pass technique that G2 have been so effective with. Right into a chance, but it will keep their possession. That one's helped along. Atomic does the same to get it to the backboard. G2 just trying to squeeze these seconds away however they can. Archie's trying to get the passes going. Joris going to try and finish that, but it's won by Atomic as well. This is where G2 can just stand up and be countered all day long. They seem so comfortable in a position where they could have been so stretched, and that is what G2 Esports are all about.
Yeah, brilliant read from Chicago, just making that series a little bit, making that game a little bit more comfortable, as the 1-goal lead would have been a very tense ending, but 2-goal lead, something G2 are very, very happy with. And Champions response there from G2. Oxygen really outsourcing them in that first game, creating a plethora of opportunities, not even taking them all and winning the game anyway. Second game, G2 really limited how many opportunities Oxygen were able to create. Like you mentioned, cutting off those passing plays that Oxygen are trying. It's like an outlet pass that Oxygen always try and make happen. The last third play by Oli, though, was phenomenal. First an infield pass and a mind game, and there's your Chicago read on the fake kickoff from Oxygen at the end of the game.
That killed the morale really of Oxygen after they'd worked so hard to.
Well, did it? They went for another fake straight away. So
do you know what?
Got to give them credit. They had the presence of mind to say, "Hey, they saw that one coming. They're never going to think we're going to do that again."
Okay, the morale was still there, but the game seemed pretty dead. How about that one?
The game, yeah, at that point, it's so difficult to score against a fully functional G2 unit, and that's how I would describe them in Game 2. They really look like a team, not just Atomic trying to 1v3 is how I would describe the first game.
Well, speaking of games being dead, over on the B stream, there was a 3-0 victory for the club versus Pioneers. We now have James Cheese starting their descent on this full major, and they're up against Carmine Corp. So it doesn't get too much more difficult than that for your first game back in home region for one of these players. Yeah, true. Sorry, yeah. It doesn't get much harder for Carmine Corp. That's what I meant, of course, Johnny.
Tough draw. Very, very tough draw against the undefeated APAC squad. Oh, what a pass. What a finish. Atomic was faking a demo there to make Jorius back down. As here, Jorius sees Atomic between him and the ball. He's having to back off in case Atomic comes towards him with a demo. And Atomic just kept on ball cam, knew exactly where he was, knew exactly where Jorius was as well. Perfectly placed finish.
One thing we tend to find at LANs is that online seeding doesn't actually matter that much with regards to how well a team is going to play. G2 Esports, they were the 5th best team in North America online. But it is different when you're together and you can see your opponent, stare into their eyes, hear each other, you know, fist bump, all of these differences. And now we're starting to see the real G2, the G2 Esports that won in winter on home soil, as you mentioned, but also finished second at Worlds. You know, they came up against Team BDS that was just destroying everything in their path, and they too were destroyed, but they made it to that final. And it's passing plays like the one earlier. They are such a vicious team to play against, so much pace, so much optimism.
Oh.
That's why it was so rare to see them camped in their own goal line in game one. But Oxygen, to their credit, have worked them back there, but G2 can counter.
Yeah, G2, I've got the momentum right now. Like I mentioned earlier, it's about getting across the finish line in European lands. That's where they've had some difficulties, even being reverse swept a couple of times last season. Oh, that's a snipe. Jorius gladly accepts the infield pass from Archie and sends it flying into the bottom corner. Oli starting that play off as well with a lovely defensive back pass. Oxygen getting everyone involved inside the first 90 seconds.
G2 must have been convinced that they would have had enough manpower back there to block that one out, but Jorius, to his credit, sniped the 1 point of the goal it would make it into, and maybe if he can get a flip reset working here, it could be 2 straight off the kickoff. How good would it feel for Oxygen to get a kickoff goal after what happened in the last one?
You know, I'm very impressed with Oxygen quickly identifying that infield did look pretty good as an option in offense here. Their down-the-line passes, their solo plays, they're starting to get closed down, but G2 in doing that did leave a bit of a gap in the middle. It's easy to spot that when you're just watching the game. There's no pressure of having to play with all of the stakes on the line here. But they've noticed that early, and they've managed to score off multiple infields in the past 2 games. So the G2 are going to adapt to that, so we'll have to wait and see what Oxygen try and mix in to their offensive arsenal. But right now, going pretty good. Oh, that was almost in for G2. Shot launched out of the midfield. Look at Oli on the transition though, he's going all the way.
Oh.
And what is that challenge?
Oh, Oli just stared him down. He waited for the G2 man to make his move. Here we go. Oli, what you gonna do? Just wait.
Oh dear.
Just chill, man.
Where is Atomic going though? I mean, it's similar to the play Jorius made in game 1 where he advances out of the goal, he advances out of defense, and then he just doesn't challenge. You've got to challenge. If you're advancing like that, you don't have a choice anymore. You're not able to defend the net from that position. You have to go. So a shocking mistake there from Atomic, but a fantastic play from Oli all the same. He transitioned past all 3 players, and Oli's playmaking has been brilliant. We kind of expected Archie and Jorius to be the main guys for Oxygen, but Oli's been phenomenal so far in this series.
Yeah, he's definitely been the star performer for Oxygen so far. Atomic gets one over the top of all of them, Oli included, and Oli can't quite close down Chicago, and G2 equalize quickly.
Well, just when you thought it might be another nightmare involving crossbars for G2, Atomic was able to catch up to his own missed shot, send it back into the middle, and Chicago made sure to put it past the goalkeeper. What a series. It's every bit as close as we'd hoped for. Neither team have been perfect. But another kickoff goes G2's way. It's Atomic's chance to redeem himself. He's hit the bar, but this time it's on purpose because JNaps is behind him.
The battle of the kickoffs. G2 are winning it again. Archie couldn't quite get that close cheat. Oli did all he could. But there was JNaps seeing away Atomic's hard work and giving G2 a quick fire lead. And every time this happens, this set piece, it seems it's putting danger into Oxygen. Will they try another fake or anything clever? No, it's just a post cheat. Just get the ball moving again and start playing some Rocket League. You talked about solo plays not working for Oxygen Esports, but we have to remember that is an entire avenue of play that just hasn't really awoken for them just yet. So even though this series seems to be credit to G2, if they can get things working in that regard, then Oxygen can easily step up.
Yeah, Oxygen, they've always got that to go back to. I mean, it was their main source of chances created in the first game. Well, they've almost got an opportunity there. In fact, they do. Oli uncontested. Oh, it's saved, and somehow G2 almost survived there. I mean, I'm not sure where the challenge was initially. JNaps and Atomic are both there. Atomic actually, in trying not to bump JNaps, just made himself a target. So a bit of a mess there in defense again from G2. Oxygen quickly capitalized.
3-3, just as it was in game number 1, we find ourselves here again. Who's gonna score that final decisive goal, if it will be? There's still 90 seconds left. Who's gonna be the first to take it? Lovely touch there from Oli, deft into the G2 Esports corner. Archie tries the infield pass again, but it's a little bit too high. Is that gonna open things up at all though? Oli just gets a snapshot away. Jorius is closing it down. G2 surviving, they're happy to defend. They're just desperate to get their counter on, but it's not quite going to happen this time because Archie has steamed away with the ball, and it's a good setup as well. JNaps just about gets the touch. I was wondering if that was a replication of the mistake he made in game 1, but he just about put it over the top.
Yeah, JNaps in a good position that time. Oh, this is tricky. Archie and Jorius both committing. Oli's going to race back and cover them. G2 given an option for the hard clear. Oxygen take it, but it just means possession again for G2. I'm liking the early challenges from Oxygen's first man. They really are not giving G2 a lot of time to breathe. Keeping that ball cam on as they rotate out, making themselves a passing option. It's a very chaotic series, a very difficult series for teams to figure out how to defend. Which team will figure out faster? Seems like the team who are going to come away with a win here.
Oxygen are moving so fast as well that G2's bump in demo game just hasn't woken up at all, so Oxygen are relatively unscathed when they're defending, but the G2 mechanics can change that. Archie gets the save. Oli crunches into that challenge. He makes his way towards Joris, who just booms it long. Looks like he's waiting for overtime. Archie's going to try and help that one along in the same way, but it does fall to JNAPS. Maybe one more chance for G2 if they can get a touch, but again, as in game one, 3-all, Oxygen kill it. We go to overtime.
G2's kickoffs have been pretty good in this game. They get another one to go slightly in their favor, but Oli's going to cut that one off. You know, Oxygen are not adapting really. They're just trusting themselves. Oh my goodness. Out of nowhere, a shot almost goes in for G2. Well, Oxygen living life dangerously right now, especially with their kickoff selection. I mean, they're just continuing to play a strategy that's been overall losing for them today, trusting that it's mechanics that need improving, not the strategy itself.
Archie tips that one towards JNAPS, who is up and has a bit more boost to get a second touch if he so chooses to. He does. Only half stops Oli. Watching Esports, if they are relying on mechanics, they've got all the time in the world now in overtime to get them working. As long as they don't concede, they can take attempt after attempt without having to rush. Jory is one touch, Jory is a second touch. Archie's coming in, and it's a roll in by Oli. Oxygen bundle it home.
Oh well, G2 with another howler. This is just not the clear that Atomic needs to be making there. He's got 60 boost, and he gets it past absolutely no one. Easy finish for Oxygen. But the defense for G2 has been pretty shambolic today, if I'm being honest with you. At times, they've been giving away goals that we never see them conceding on LAN, and we never see them conceding online. They've got to step this up now. Oxygen have really got them in a tough position. G2 again struggling on EU soil.
Yeah, I mean, we've had it through from our stats guy, Direct, that G2 as an organization are 3-7 on EU lands. It's a 30% win rate, whereas on NA lands, they're 17-7 for series victories. So there is a huge discrepancy with how they play when there's a little bit of jet lag involved, when they've had to travel, when they don't have the crowd behind them, whatever it may be. It does change things for G2. They have to fight through that, especially in a tough series like this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy stat, but the last time G2 made a top 8 in Europe, obviously we didn't have LANs for a long time, but way back before the lack of LANs, it wasn't like they had massive success either. I mean, they've made a grand final in Europe before when Rizzo was on the roster, losing to, I believe, PSG, DreamHack Leipzig 2018. Then the following year, they made top 8, and that's the last time we saw them in a top 8. 2019, very start of the year. They just haven't been able to figure out how to play their game. I mean, it's been G2 beating themselves at times in defense. Oxygen haven't needed to really pop off. These have been easy goals for them at times. But you can say the same thing at the other side, although it's less of a surprise seeing Oxygen look like less of a unit. It's mostly their mechanics that get them out of these tough positions, not their positioning that they're known for.
Well, Oxygen live by the fire, and they darn well die by it as well. They are not going to slow down and hope that G2 make mistakes. They'll keep attacking, they'll keep trying it, but it can backfire like it does at the start of Utopia. Joris again!
He's trying to hit a very precise touch there. He wants to get a glancing blow on the ball
just
to knock
hit the
it
ball,
up,
mate.
But he's missing. And you pointed this out earlier. He missed similar position. He missed it. He's trying to like pop it up so he can then run off the wall and start an air dribble. He wants to attack, but you're trying to play really precise touches here. And is it necessary? I don't think so. I mean, defensive mistakes from both teams continuing to pour in. This time it's G2 who are able to score off the back of one.
Oxygen will keep on coming though. They will never stop doing that. G2 Esports have to be prepared. JNAPS goes for a second touch and doesn't get it, but it just falls to Atomic. G2 will be feeling hopefully a little bit better after taking the lead there, getting another free goal courtesy of Oxygen Esports defending, which has been shaky, to be polite, at times in this series.
Yeah, both teams have had very shaky defense. Oxygen in that final third again, they have looked dangerous. G2 able to get it clear. That's so key that Chicago's downfield able to chase this. You don't want to just give that possession away to Oxygen. Passing the ball out of defense now.
it's the first game where we've really had many demos coming in. It seems that these teams have both realized that there is a lack of them from the pair of them. And I think they're trying to disrupt things even more. So what's already a nitty-gritty series might be about to get even trickier. But G2 Esports are managing to string some stuff together, and they've doubled their lead.
It's a good hard hit there from Chicago to the back wall, but Jorius is there and he's got boost. He's not running dry there. He's still got 30 boost after the whiff. So once again, it's a miss from Jorius that gives G2 an opportunity. I mean, G2 kind of forcing them into tricky positions here, but I'd still put both of these goals into the unforced error category. You know, G2 they're punishing these mistakes. But why are we seeing these mistakes in the first place? Oh, you're joking. Well, he just chipped one in. I don't know what is going on, Cole. These goals are, they're absolutely ridiculous. They don't make sense. JNAPS thinks he's safe here. Oh, he just drives into the ball and it flies in.
I reckon even pros, as good as these guys are, could try that finish 100 times and maybe get it 30, maybe a sort of 30% hit rate, I think, from that angle, coming at that trajectory as well down the ramp. That is not one you can expect your opponents will get, but fair play Oli. He sunk it when it mattered. Jorius might do the same thing. He's finally connected with one, but it's saved from the goal line. Yeah,
it looked like Oli just realized, well, this is lining up pretty perfectly for me. I might as well just drive into the ball. And if there's one thing that Oxygen have done well, it's sending the first man. They're not backing down with their first man challenges. They are lunging in and using the safe option of challenging your first man to capitalize on G2's unexpected. Oh, you're joking. Well, that pass, although it might not have been fully planned, was executed unbelievably well. Jorius offloads to Archie, who was kind of pre-jumping before that last touch from Jorius landed. Boy, did that work out well. 2-2, Oxygen back in it.
Archie made an abundance of what was already quite a lot from that pass. You know, he made it even better than it was with that pre-flip. A bit of brilliance between the two of them. That should wake Jorius up as well. Managing to get that flick reset assist.
What?
That one's loose. Where's the defense? Nobody's just charging it down. But again, a sketchy moment for Auction in defense when they've just managed to turn this game around. They might go behind again. Chicago can put it away. He's back with Oli just prods it forward. JNAPS is coming forwards himself to the corner with this one. Oli again just sends it down the middle. G2 have another go, lads.
Well, Oxygen are panicking at every opportunity, but for once G2 have not capitalized Chicago. Fortunately, goalkeeper away, now miss comes through. That perfectly sets up Atomic, who just gifts the possession right back.
We need some like comedy trombone over the top of this. Someone sing it together, someone edit it.
Is this, are we being set up here? Is this not really Oxygen G2 playing for a minute there? We're just being, is this a prank?
I mean, I thought Stumpy wasn't coming to this major, but apparently he's controlling every single car on the field right now.
Looks like we're right back into more of what you'd expect from these two teams. Rapid play being sent around the field, but for a moment there, it just completely deteriorated into a platinum lobby, and nobody was able to hit the ball despite the fact it was barely moving. I suppose it's like that rookie aerial training. When the ball's not moving, it's actually harder to hit. These guys, they didn't know what to do in a position where the ball just ground to a halt. Everybody's momentum just seemed to deplete simultaneously. That being said, G2 still getting the better of the pressure, still getting the better of the territory. Oxygen struggling to break free.
Oh yeah, we are back. Deep breaths have been had by all, and now the proper Rocket League can continue. And it was G2 on the ascent, but now Oli has a chance to counter for Oxygen. He wanted to just squeeze that ball to pinch it into the goal. Couldn't quite connect. Jorius coming up, a great challenge from Chicago, sends it all the way down the other side. This is a game where you just want to get rid of the ball. No one's scoring a wonder goal here. It will be an ugly finish when it comes in. You have to make sure it goes to your team.
Don't say it, Cole. We can't have another one. Not another ugly goal. Not after this game. If it's for G2, fair enough. At least we get a game 5. But an ugly goal for Oxygen would be a pretty horrendous way for G2 to lose this.
We can only wait and see. So as he tries to get a good pinch on that one, but it just goes to Chicago from the ceiling with him. It's closed down by a pair of Oxygen players. Jorius gets a little nudge from Archie as he begins his way to get that ball away. Atomic keeps them coming as well. G2 have really calmed things down now, and they are keeping the ball buried in that blue half. Can they get that one incisive pass? Is Chicago able to force it here? Almost, but not quite. His two teammates too far back, couldn't make anything from that one. And Archie gets a good close down. We could be approaching the third overtime unless there's 0-second dramatic moment! Almost! So near yet so far to a repeat of what happened at the last full major, the Armad moment, but not quite to be this time.
Yeah, phenomenal surge from G2, from Oxygen, I should say. They're not finished with that little push of momentum. Chicago actually slightly too far forward, able to reverse back into position. That's a great drop down pass there from Oli. Forward to Archie, but saved by Atomic. G2 holding on.
Huge save there, that one from Atomic. That's so difficult to read. Had to judge 3 or 4 different angles at once. Oxygen able to keep it coming. They've got decent boost. If you look in the top left, you'll see, but Atomic makes a huge clearance. And Oxygen have to go again. Jorius is waiting. He wants this ball. Archie's coming forward as well.
Oh
so
my.
A huge 3-man forward attack here from Oxygen. It's risky in overtime, but they want to kill this one now.
These are good opportunities Oxygen are creating. G2 surviving, and now they might be thriving. Whoa. Archie with a phenomenal save. Look at where he's managed to knock the ball. It's safe for now, but back in the middle, and JNAB's contact. For once, this goes way sideways. Both teams have had their chances in Game 4. It's G2 who need it more. Oxygen really cannot afford to give too many more of these away. It's only a matter of time before G2 nail the pass. The shot will be just automatic if the pass is good enough for G2.
But that touch from Chicago was closed down so quickly by Oxygen. Just comes right back to JNAB, so there's a bump attempt coming in. Jorius manages to wriggle his way free somehow. I'm not quite sure how he wasn't sent into the stratosphere after that connection, but he's got away with it. He's done well, actually. Jorius now to the backboard. Chicago and Atomic. It's Atomic that gets the touch. And here he goes, trying to take it around the corner. Oxygen applying this pressure, putting on this squeeze. JNABs wants to clear. Actually, he takes a couple of touches. Good play from him. Well done. That was a very good decision under pressure, and it does send us back to Oxygen half.
Yeah, JNAB's just knowing in that position, if he hits the ball, Oxygen are going to have it, so just control it. Air dribble, force it 50-50, then it's anyone's ball.
Atomic, he takes the shot. Archie, another big save, but there is a demo. That one's just past the post. And we're going to get it to JNABs.
Oh my
goodness. And this time, JNABs does not miss. He sends us to Game 5 after a couple of minutes of overtime.
Well, Archie expected G2 to be on his case immediately there. He panic jumped, thought it was about to be a 50-50, but there's no one there. JNABs just delayed his arrival ever so slightly, and that gave him a completely free goal. Wide open net.
You can hear as well, you can hear that they are really talking this one through. There's discussions to be had.
I think both teams probably realize at this point that they've got the winning formula. It's all about execution. I mean, the 2 goals for Oxygen to go down in this game were complete misses from Jorius. I mean, they weren't the easiest touches, but he's trying to be so precise, and he's trying to go for the perfect touch in every position. Right there, just flies right by. He wants to get a glancing blow. Why not play it a little bit thicker to make sure that you're not missing, just in case?
Especially if you're not peeking.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not happening, you've got 2 options. You can either keep trying to force it, or just let off the gas for 20 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Because if you're as good as Jorius, it will come, right? You don't have to force it. You will eventually, things will slot into place.
Yeah.
It seemed that he made that decision afterwards. An option that's a lot more balanced and better afterwards, but it was G2 that won it out. It was JNABs who needed a couple of attempts in the overtime before taking down Oxygen in that 4th game. Oxygen looking a lot more stern and serious, whereas G2 having a conversation.
Well, you know, after the initial chain of mishaps at the start of this game, G2 did get into a good rhythm. And if they can start off Game 5 in that same rhythm, I think they're going to look the favourites early on at least. And who knows what will happen at the end of this game. It's been an incredibly chaotic series. But right now, momentum belongs to G2. They just scored an overtime winner in Game 4 to tie the series. Getting all 3 players involved in that final third. Archie's just completely whiffed on an attempted clear. G2 are there to punish. Well, G2, they don't need to really force the issue here. Mistakes are coming in from Oxygen. Archie with a whiff there. I mean, he was starved for boost just a little bit, but the fact he's not made contact is pretty surprising.
There was no one near him, but it wasn't an easy finish there from Chicago. He had goalkeepers coming back. He still had a lot of work to do, so well done to him for keeping his cool. 25 seconds into Champions Field, the scariest map of them all. So many amazing moments have happened here. Will we see a few more of those in the next few seconds? Will we see a save here from Oli is the first question to be answered. We do for now. Atomic is trying to chain dash his way to get a bump or maybe even a demo on Oli, depending on how much speed he can gain in quick succession. He tries to make amends for his mistake, and he does so in brilliant fashion.
Well, just when you think he's going to play for the reset, Archie leans forward, demos JNAB, and then bumps Chicago to let the ball go in after him. Unreal play from Archie. He had so much momentum, he just flew straight through JNAB and managed to clatter Chicago away from the play as well. Like you said, perfect redemption play there from Archie, who aired on the first goal, allowing G2 a relatively easy shot on their goal.
Atomic does have this ball though in the Oxygen corner, and he wants to get it into the center for one of his players to do something weird. That's a pass into the middle for Archie. That is not what Chicago had in mind, and he's being bumped as well for his trouble. Good pace from Jorius. Anyone coming in to help him? It's Atomic racing Oli. Atomic sends that ball up to the sky as much as he can, does very well. And G2 finally clear it. So Oxygen seem to have got over their first little wobble.
Oh, that's brilliant.
History repeats itself. Another huge redirect against G2.
Archie on the retreat, just realizes he's in the perfect place to pop the ball with your favorite type of goal call. You've got one in an RLCS major.
I'm so excited. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Rocket League gods, for sharing that moment. What a finish it was. Oxygen find themselves back on top.
Effortlessly as well. I mean, Archie, after making a miss like that, has shown that he has got levels mentally as well. You know, we're thinking that Oxygen might be the tilty team here, but it's a perfect regain if you've ever seen one. And now, ball's back in G2's court. What have they got now that it's their turn to try and make a comeback happen?
It seemed like it was just going to be so simple for G2 Esports just to play safe, let Oxygen make some errors, and they would, you know, find some simple goals, but it's not quite shaken out like that after the first 30 seconds or so. And now we see a G2 that has to force the issue. They have to play in front of the ball, go for these bumps that they've been neglecting somewhat this series. That is exactly it. These passes with a player in front. G2 playing a bit more proactively, and they've decided to do so at the right time.
High defensive line from G2. They're pressing up to the halfway line. They want to shut down the Oxygen clears nice and early, try and get the boost starve going. So if you can cut off that clear immediately, send the ball back into the danger area, then there's no time for Oxygen to circle around and grab boost. Jorius is out of position here. That's going to be JNaps alone with the goalkeeper. Oli's quick recovery will cover it, but not able to get back for Atomic shot. G2 do tie. And
it was his patient play as well. They did have a man in front. It was Chicago who was bullying Archie. Jorius tried to make amends, and Archie couldn't make it happen from the goal ramp right there. So just as this series has been the entire time, it's neck and neck between these two teams. This one approaching the death very quickly. Should almost make the most of a pretty neutral kickoff, but Atomic steams in at the last second. Well, he does have Archie in the center, goes solo instead. It was a good effort. G2 some good saves. I mean, that's one thing a lot of these North American teams can do so easily, the defending against the solo air dribbles. They do it so much. Oxygen, on the other hand, struggling a little bit, and that pass almost fell to JNaps.
Well, there's the mistakes that G2 have been waiting for. There's another one. As an attempted defensive pass turns into an infield pass for the opposition. That clear's actually gone past Chicago. Oh my goodness, did he panic flip there, or was that an intentional play to stop a double commit from a curling? Well, either way, that was far from ideal for G2. The fact that a hard clear's almost bounced into a dangerous position shows how you can be punished for having a high line. Oli with the double, and it's in! Minute and 40 to go, and it's Oxygen back in front.
Oli has been Oxygen's best player this entire series, and he's the one who just has that split second of composure, just about sinking the second touch. It wasn't the most powerful strike he'll ever get, but it nestled in the back of the net, which at this stage in the series is all that matters. Oxygen 1 minute and 40 seconds away from winning the one series they need to get to guarantee playing in front of a Dutch crowd.
Not just any Dutch crowd, a Dutch crowd absolutely packed with fans that Jorius himself has brought along. He's pretty much brought his entire extended family along with him. He's got to make it to that Saturday if they're going to get to watch him play. Oh! He wants it badly. Jorius sends a screamer into the top corner.
And there's you and me saying, oh, maybe you should just chill out a little bit, stop going for these left touches. That's when you go for them, Jorius, mate. When you're on the attack, when touching it, sends it to the goal with so much power. G2 need a couple.
And once again, G2 struggling in a European LAN. You know, they had opportunities here. I think that if you show G2 the tape on Oxygen today, you say, this is what you're up against, this is how many free goals you're going to get, they would gamble on themselves winning this. But they are in a losing position here, and they do not have a lot of time left. They're being forced to take risks just to stay in this one. But here's Atomic with the air dribble over one. That early challenge forces him to relinquish possession. Oxygen survive.
Do the former EU regional winners in Oxygen have the game management to see this one away? The pressure is higher than anything they've faced in the trio so far. Only new to this world, the one of RLCS lands. So far they're doing well. Archie's doing everything right. Just get some elevation on that ball. Send it high, make it float. G2, you have to force the issue more than this, but first you have to get the ball.
Oxygen not that surprising. They've made mistakes, they've been inconsistent, but they've also popped off and scored some unbelievable goals. That's kind of what we thought they were going to be all about when they came into this event. But G2, they needed to be more consistent here. Where's that structure? Where's the perfect rotation that we're so used to seeing from them? It might even be another goal for Oxygen here. They don't need it. They're up by 2 and cruising in game 5. About to hand G2 yet another loss. They've done it. Oxygen from behind in the last game.
As well. Archie waiting in the goal line, saving it. He's already up. He doesn't care to see Jorian see this one. Archie's already turned off his computer for all he cares about seeing the final goal. Oxygen, I mean, look at them, how relaxed they are now. Like, yeah, that was easy. Was that easy for this team, Johnny?
No, far from it. I mean, they've got so many things that they can go and improve on. Just from this series alone, if they watch back these replays, they're going to be, I think, cringing at some of the mistakes that they've made.
I hope so.
They've given away so many free goals to G2, but G2 have just conceded far too many times. I mean, some of the goals, you can't really blame them. Oxygen produced brilliance, pure brilliance at times here, but the amount of mistakes that Oxygen were allowed to make and still get away with a win against G2, I mean, that really tells you all you need to know about G2's level in that series. It was below what we need to see from them if they're going to make a top 8 in this event.
It'll be very, very disappointing, bitterly so, for G2 to have lost that series. They just couldn't contain the Oxygen monster that was just jumping about in the cage in front of them. No one knew what the monster was doing, least of all Oxygen at times, but G2 were not able to tame it. That's a really tough one, but there's plenty of opportunities in the Swiss.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, G2, they're going to be glad that they did get to play against a good team round 1. I think it favours these teams who are in tough matchups round 1 of Swiss, because every team plays later on today again. So I think it's important to get a tough round 1 matchup like this. But I'm not convinced by either team, to be honest. I think that they're both extremely messy, extremely inconsistent in this matchup. Yeah, Oxygen have just got the mechanics and the class that they can get away with that almost. It's like they're cheating. They make so many mistakes and they do everything wrong, but then they still get out of these awkward positions because they're so mechanical. G2, I don't think they can afford to make those mistakes. They've got to play more like that unit, more like that machine that we're used to seeing.
I mean, these highlights are making Oxygen Esports look like the best team in the world. You're watching this thinking, wow, look at some of these goals they've scored, and you forget about the mistakes they've made. And as you say, that's how good they are with the ball.
Yeah, and Oli as well. What a series he played. The LAN debutant, he was absolutely phenomenal. I think man of the match for me.
Yeah, definitely a brilliant performance from Oli, new with this team. And we are going to go to an interview with the winning team. Leaf is on the stage with Oxygen Esports right now.
That I am. First game, first win. Archie is with me right now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You, I'd say you're looking good out there, but so were the opponents. It felt like it wasn't like the easiest of your first matches here. G2 definitely, they had you on the ropes a bit. Did you guys feel that pressure?
Nah, I don't feel the pressure. We don't feel the pressure. We're calm throughout the games, and yeah, they're a good team though. Like, they're a very good team. So I think that's like one of the four teams that's a hard matchup in this first round, to be honest.
I gotta ask you though. Right at the bat there, we had a bit of a delay at the start there. What was going on with the chair there? Just too short for you?
Nah. Basically, well, actually, the chair was a little bit stiff, so clearly it's not been used in a while, so it wouldn't go down and up. And then his armrest also, so we had to get the man over there to help, and then he had to get a new chair. So, but we've been practicing standing up Rocket League, so he was free playing and stuff on standing up, and he felt good. So.
I feel like you've given a better answer than most players do with just about a chair. So I'm liking it. Right now, I got to ask you about just the split so far. You guys started off pretty strong, Regional 1. That was looking good. And there were some struggles afterwards there. Do you guys have that resolved now, or is there still a little bit of lingering question marks about whether you guys have figured out everything that needs to go on?
Nah, we're still not figured out fully. I think just based on our individual skill, that's why we can still perform. But obviously, as a team, we still have a lot of issues, but they can be fixed. And obviously, we've only been teaming a couple months, so yeah.
And it does feel like you guys, you mentioned you got good mental. I mean, that game 4, it looked like you could have closed it out at one point, got real close, went to overtime, and it turned around. But how do you guys not lose your mind? Because that's heartbreaking when you're so close and then you end up losing the game. I'd probably throw the controller somewhere. How do you keep your mental together?
Well, we always know that we can win every game, so going to game 5 didn't really matter. Obviously, I think they deserved the game 4. I think we could have finished it at the end, 0 seconds we almost scored, but they deserved that win. Game 5, we just reset. After every goal, we reset. Even then, we always know we can score. So even if we're 1-0 down, 2-0 down, we can know we can come back. We came back at every game, I'm pretty sure.
And just one more question here before I let you go here. Oli, this is first LAN. How's he feeling right now? Was there nerves you guys had to calm down, or is he pretty focused in?
No, he was playing good. He was feeling good. Yeah, he played very good. I think as a team, we just had a little bit of nerves, in the comms. Sometimes we just went silent a little bit, but we got on top of that and then changed it for the game 5 especially. And then obviously Oli played super good. You always played super good, and then we won. So that's all that matters.
You certainly did win. Congratulations again on that. We'll probably be seeing you guys again later. But we do have a lot